All right, guys, this character's pretty much finished now. It's like crazy strong. Like can basically AFK slam through pretty much everything in the game at this point. I'm at the point now where just to upgrade anything, I could obviously get better stuff for this character if I really wanted to, but upgrading anything on this character at this point is just like splitting hairs because you're maybe making yourself like 2% stronger. And you're not really accomplishing anything else in the process other than making yourself slightly stronger because it can already do everything in the game. All the way up to like super difficult, like 150% delirium and everything else. So yeah, this character's finished. And shout out to all the people who contributed, Penrose and Kid who helped out. We were like tearing this thing apart in POB and we put it all together. And Labau and the dude who mentioned things about different charms and stuff like that in one of the comments on the videos. The person who came up with this Herald of Ice chaining thing, I don't really know who that was, but this was really useful because I was able to incorporate it into my setup to generate my charges, my combat frenzy, and my scavenge plating at the same time. So this skill funneled all my other skills, which basically made this character like insane because this character pretty much has one of the highest hit pools in the game. So even though it can output absolutely massive amounts of damage at an insane rate of speed, once it has buffs on the character, it's so tanky that it pretty much can't take damage either. This character is like one of the tankiest characters in the game while still being pretty fast and outputting massive amounts of damage. So yeah, I mean, shout out to all those guys and those guys in POB that helped me out a lot. Penrose and Kid, I appreciate that. We really tore this thing apart and like put it back together. One thing you're going to notice with most like warrior builds or most endgame builds in general is you just path straight out and then loop for all the jewel sockets. That's kind of what happens when you get to endgame. But yeah, I'm at the point now where I pretty much can't replace any piece of gear unless I spend hundreds of divines. And this is a pretty endgame min-maxy build, so you might not want to transition to this until you're like level 90 and have like a decent amount of currency to burn because you're going to need to be able to afford to buy good stuff. So just keep that in mind. This requires a lot of attributes and you'll need a lot of like very specific items to make it really work and function at a high level. And if you're looking for a more budget version of a warrior, you can go back and watch my old videos because I've done like 20 videos on this character. I've been playing this character for 2 months and basically recording everything I've done with it from the very beginning up until now. And, I've limit tested a lot of things and I've tested a lot of different things and I found a lot of things that work really well and are really simple. So if you're looking for a more simple version of this, just go back and check that out. But yeah, when I finished this character in early league, this character was insanely fast and did a lot of damage, but it didn't have good defenses. But now it does even more damage, is faster, and has insane defenses. So this character pretty much has no weaknesses in my opinion. Like this is like a insane all-around character that just can absolutely smash everything in the game. And like I said, once the buffs kick in, this character can't die even with just 2 hammers and just full DPS, full speed. He just like cannot die. It's insane. He's like actually insane. But yeah, I'll take you through it and show you how it works, and then if you guys have questions, you can always just like pop them down below. And like I always say, this is just like a normal place for normal people, so like ask each other questions and help each other out in the comments. So I'll show you how it works. Alright guys, I'm going to give you the skill walkthrough, but first I'm going to turn off my volume here. Okay, there we go. My volume's off. So I'm going to give you the skill walkthrough here and show you how this works. So what I am running for skills is obviously my Earth Shatter, and I'm running all dexterity gems in my close combat. And just ignore the screen shakes because we're just going to hang out with Jesh while we do this. So we're going to hang out here with this fella, and he's probably going to shake our screen around a bit while we're doing this, but we'll get over that. He's going to be upset with us, but we ain't leaving. But yeah, for skills, I'm running the Earth Shatter with Close Combat, Branching Fissures, Life Tap, Heft, and Armor Break 3. So yeah, I'm running the Close Combat 2 on the Earth Shatter, the Branching Fissures 2, the Life Tap, because we did that thing with our Tech Rod Jewel, so we have to have Life Tap. And then we're running Heft and Armor Break 3. Now for our Sunder, we're running Embitter. The reason we're running Embitter is because we're trying to convert our extra damage sources throughout our character on our weapons to cold damage. If you don't have extra sources of damage, you will need to run cold attunement. We're running rapid attacks 2, life leech 3, because we're trying to offset bloodletting, because bloodletting uses a lot of life. So then we're using life leech 3. And then we're using Rakita's Flow. If you're not using Rakita's Flow, you will 100% need a Porcelain Ring. So you will not be able to do this without a Porcelain Ring if you do not have a Rakita's Flow or a lot of damage. If you have a lot of damage, it'll work fine. But you'll definitely need plenty of damage to make it work. So, and then we're running Life Tap, Ice Bite, Crater, Rapid Attacks 2, and Embitter on our Leap Slam. The reason we're running Ice Bite is because what happens is when you're like running through a pack of enemies and you jump on some enemies with your Leap Slam, you know, you just jump on them regularly. You just do this, you know, kind of jump on them. Unfortunately, we can't use this guy as a proper example because he won't die when we jump on him, of course. So, but when you kill an enemy with your Ice Bite, you gave 25% of damage as extra cold damage for 5 seconds on freezing an enemy. So when you're jumping around the map, you'll freeze an enemy, you'll get a huge buff to your cold damage, which allows you to apply more freezes and then proc your Herald of Ice more. So that's how we have that set up. And we are using the Rakita's Flow, but if you don't have the Rakita's Flow, make sure you use a Porcelain Ring because you'll need it for sure, unless you have a lot of damage. Like I can take it off, the Rakita's Flow off, and I can still proc freezes, but I have a lot of sources of extra damage throughout my character. So that's why I have it set up that way. Crater, I'm running in my Leap Slam. The reason I'm running Crater is because when I jump, you see the little fissures come out around the enemy. So that's Crater. So Crater spreads out around the enemy. And I'm running Rapid Attacks 2 and Embitter on this as well, because again, I'm converting my extra damage. Embitter converts your extra damage to cold damage. You see that? If skills would gain extra damage of any other type, they gain cold damage instead. So that's why we're using Embitter, is because we're taking our extra damage and we're converting it to cold damage. Now again, if you don't have extra sources of damage, you see how it says extra physical damage? That doesn't mean damage from the weapon. It means damage on top of the weapon. So it's important to note there's a difference there. So yeah, we have to run Life Tap because we've gone to using a Tech Rod. And we're using Crater because we're trying to get more AoE on our Leap Slam. So when we jump, the craters spread out and these will hit the enemies and they will proc our Herald of Ice. So we're just adding our Crater so that we can get more AoE on our Leap Slam because it'll spread out the fissures when we land. So, and then we're using the Ice Bite, like I said, because we freeze some enemies, and then that gives us extra cold damage on all of our attacks. And then Rapid Attacks 2 just makes us attack faster. Life Tap switches our skills to life cost, and like I said before, we are using our mana as life cost. So that's basically all these skills. I use the Earth Shatter for bossing, and I'll give you a quick view of that when I'm done here. I'll show you how to use your Earth Shatter for bossing, and what you can do if you feel like you don't have enough damage. Like if you feel like you don't have enough damage, you can swap your Life Tap or your Bloodletting to your Earth Shatter if you're worried about your damage. I never bother because I always find I have enough damage without swapping my Bloodletting. But if you feel like you're struggling with damage, you can use the Bloodletting set up this way. And set up this way, it works really good. So there's nothing wrong with doing it this way. So if you're struggling with damage, just swap your Bloodletting before the boss. But I usually just use it this way, and it works totally fine. So I usually leave it like this. That's usually my preferred way of doing it. But if you go into a boss and you're worried you don't have enough damage, just switch your Bloodletting to your Earth Shatter. So yeah, then it'll look like Close Combat 2, Branching Fissures 2, Bloodletting, Heft, and Armor Break 3. Now, for the Leap Slam, you can use the Life Tap, Ice Bite, Crater, Rapid Attacks 2, and Embitter. Now, for the Forge Hammer, I'm still using the Ambrosia because I'm trying to generate shock with my Forge Hammer. I'm using Armor Break 3 on my Forge Hammer. This is kind of dealer's choice. You could swap this out to whatever you want, but I've just popped Armor Break on there just to get more armor breaks when I'm in Simulacrum. So I'm basically only using this gem in Simulacrum. Then I have Elemental Armament 2, Life Leech 3. Again, you could put in whatever in here. I just threw it in there because it was just free Life Leech when I was in Simulacrum. And then Rage 3 just so I could get some Rage. This skill is basically just a supporting skill. I don't really use it for DPS. I use it to shock, break armor. Again, more shock, leech some life, and then generate some rage. So I'm pretty much just using this skill as a supporting skill. It does do good damage, but I don't really need the damage from the skill, so I just use it as a free supporting skill. And then I'm using charge regulation with Exodus, Herald of Ice with all the armor break supports like I've talked about before, so I won't go into those again because otherwise this video will be 82 years long. Combat Frenzy with charge perfusion. So this is what helps me generate frenzy charges from freezing enemies with cold damage. So I freeze enemies with cold damage, enemies are frozen. That generates a charge when you freeze, electrocute, or pin an enemy. So that's how I gain frenzy charges, and I get increased skill speed. Because I get increased skill speed and defenses and crit chance when I have charges, and because I pretty much have perma charges because I have a perma charge generation setup going. And then that also breaks my armor and funnels my scavenge plating, and I've talked about this before, so I won't go into this too much. And then I'm using Infernal Cry, Raging Cry, Tireless, Cooldown Recovery, Magnified Area, and Life Tap. Again, I'm only using this just so that I can break up my Forge Hammer. So yeah, that's basically all the skills. And like I said, I'm running all dex gems in here because I'm trying to get as many dex gems as possible so that I can take advantage of this stuff down here, because I want to make sure I get my extra movement speed from having the green support gems. So yeah, I'm getting my extra MS and my extra life from my reds and my greens. So that's how I'm getting my little bit of extra MS so my character doesn't feel slow. But that's basically how all the gems are set up. That's basically everything. And like I said, I've already talked about this before, that scavenge plating with pronged duration, physical mastery, vitality, precision. So I won't waste too much time on that stuff. As far as boss combos go, oh, he's doing the hand. He's trying to fist me, boys. He's trying to fist me. So you can sunder, you can throw your thing in sunder, and you can just sunder to, if you want to like get that broken armor buff. Like you see how all I did was sunder him once, but like I didn't even use my earth shatter. Do you see that? Because that's how you can generate. So if you want to generate the broken armor buff, you can use the sunder to generate the broken armor buff. You see that? Like normally I'll just one-shot him with earth shatter, but you can generate that if you really are struggling to get damage. You can just use that broken armor buff on him, and the broken armor buff will make it easier to kill him. So if you're struggling with damage, like I can always one-shot all these bosses, but if you're struggling with damage, the setup if you're struggling with damage is to use the what's it called, the Forge Hammer with the armor break. And if you use the Forge Hammer with the armor break and then sunder them, you can get a bunch of free damage. See, it gets a little damage debuff right there. So if you're struggling to get enough damage to kill the boss, you can throw a Forge Hammer, do a War Cry, hit a sunder, and now he's got sundered armor, so he'll take even more damage this way. So if you're struggling to get the damage you need, you can do it that way. Now, I usually just use, what's it called? The Earth Shatter. I just one-shot him with Earth Shatter typically. I'll just do this and then just blow him up and he dies. So yeah, I mean, that's usually what I do, but it's kind of dealer's choice. If you feel like you don't have enough damage, you can throw in your Forge Hammer and then War Cry first. So you can throw in your Forge Hammer and War Cry and then sunder him if you want some more damage, just because you can apply the debuff, and then you can finish him off with Earth Shatters after that. But that's pretty much the whole walkthrough on how all the skills work. But yeah, so I'll go through the rest of it with you guys. Alright, so for mapping, sorry I had to put Delirium on this. People complain when I don't put Delirium on maps, and I know it's ugly, but I'm sorry about that, guys. I don't want to put the Delirium on the map to show you this stuff, but people are moaning about when you don't put Delirium on maps, and I don't know why. Anyways, so yeah, when you're running through the map, you basically just leap slam and rotate between your leap slam and your sunder. So you'll just leap slam, and it gives you a nice flow, because you'll leap slam, sunder, leap slam, sunder, leap slam, and basically that's all you have to do to kind of move through the map. And it's just very relaxing, blasting your way through, and yeah, it just kind of clears everything out really easy. And once your headhunter buffs stack up, of course you are turbo tanky, because once my headhunter buffs stack up, or not my headhunter buffs, but my combat frenzy, my scavenge plating stack up with my charge infusion, my character goes up to 39,000 armor, And yeah, so I have a really high hit pool because this character basically has like one of the highest hit pools in the game because I have armor, energy shield, life, and mana because I'm getting damage from my mana before my life through my jewels and my chakra at the top. So I've got, you know, this life here, energy shield, and then mana, and then 90% armor, and then elemental damage from armor as well. So I basically have like everything I need to like face tank everything through the map, especially once my headhunter buffs stack up, just because they all like work together, right? So yeah, and once I got headhunter buffs stack up too, I have a lot more damage as well. So you basically, when everything spawns, you can kind of just stand in place and just spam sunders on like the edges of breaches. And the Shroud Walker is kind of annoying on the Headhunter, but you get used to it. Where's the Kosis? I don't see him. Oh, there he is. Okay, we'll get rid of him. And then, yeah. So yeah, that's basically all you do is you just pretty much rotate through your skills like that. You jump, sunder, jump. You could obviously incorporate Wind Dancer into this if you needed to, but as you can see, it does some fairly unethical things to the screen. So we'll just jump in and the screen's just gone. We'll just keep moving. Oh, there's Omniphobia. We'll get him. That screen's gone. That screen's gone. Open this breach. If you ever die in a breach and you don't know what killed you, it's the thing with the big things on its back. So if you're ever running through a breach and you just died and you don't know what did it, it's those great big enemies with like the big like spikes on their back that shoot you with projectiles. Yeah, I think that's it. I think we basically cleared the map. So yeah, that's pretty much the whole walkthrough. You just leap slam on everything, sunder, and you see the bosses, drop some earth shatters on them before they spawn, blow them up, swap weapons before the boss if you're running a bossing weapon set. I recommend running a bossing weapon set. Throw your forge hammer down if you want to make sure you kill the boss, and then you can blow him up with your forge hammer as well, and then finish him off with a few more hits, or finish him off with some sunders. Yeah, that's basically the whole mapping walkthrough. That's all you have to do. Alright, and for all you guys who say that you need Giant's Blood to run this, you definitely don't. No Giant's Blood. Just like works totally fine without it. Say like just one mace on. Say works totally fine, no problems at all. As you can see, my health pool is still enormous, so especially once my headhunter buffs start going. This is a chilled ground map, I think. Yeah, it is. That's annoying. But as you can see, you know, what is this? I think this is 27%. I think this is 27%. But yeah, no Giant Split on the skill tree. No Giant Split on the skill tree. Works totally fine. It's not a problem at all. So if you're a non-believer because you think you need Giant's Blood to run this, you definitely don't. As you can see, even with just one mace, probably works fine with two maces as well too. I mean, you can see what this does. It works completely fine. Has no problems at all. Blows up the whole screen. Does things. Does all kinds of things. Plenty strong without it. Yeah, so if you're struggling and saying that you can't pull this off without Giant's Blood or you need attributes, you definitely can. It definitely works fine. boss quick. Yeah, so even with just one mace, my boss damage is still pretty good. Like there goes 8 million HP on the boss just like instantly. So yeah, you get the idea. Works totally fine. It's no problem at all. Alright, and if we're talking about gear, there's a bunch of things you can do for gear, and I'll kind of go through them. We'll start with maces. So mapping maces, I like to have a high attack speed. And if you're curious to learn about how to buy this stuff, you can go back and watch my old video where I explained how to use trade filters. But I like a high attack speed, and I like to use skill speed runes on mapping. Same thing, skill speed runes, high attack speed. So that's my preferred way to have my weapon set up. And this one's a plus level to attack skills. You could get attack skills or melee skills, doesn't matter which one. It's good to have a weapon with onslaught on killing hits with this weapon. I've talked about in the past, so you can go back and learn about that in other videos if you want. And then a weapon that says extra physical damage. If your weapon doesn't say extra physical damage, this isn't going to work. This is the most important mod. You have to have this extra physical damage. Extra physical damage. Okay. And then I like to get as much attack speed as I said. So I've already explained on how to buy these. So if you go back and watch the other videos, you'll learn plenty. But I like to run skill speeds on my mapping maces. And then for my bossing maces, I don't really care too much about the attacks per second, but higher attack speed is better. I like to either run the attack damage runes, preferably the attack damage runes or iron runes. Attack damage against rare unique enemies is probably the best one. And this one's extra fizz, has some crit chance, some attack speed, all attack skills, bonus damage. So just high damage roll, and then extra damage against rare and unique enemies. Rings are resists, life, attributes, flat damage, whatever you can get. Again, same thing, resists, flat damage, resistances, life, so whatever you can get. On my amulet, I anointed material solidification. I have an all res 50 spirit. A lot of people said they couldn't see the spirit on my amulet. There's 50 spirit on my amulet. Life, melee skills, strength, chaos res. It would also be fine to get one with like an energy shield roll or an armor roll. So just whatever you can get. I'm running a Viper command helmet because it's super overtuned, obviously, with double sockets, and I just threw some life runes in it. And then I'm running a headhunter belt. And in my boots, I am running a set of armor boots with armor applies to elemental damage roll on it, with life and then life. So I have plus life, and then some resists. And because I'm getting the 100% increased effect to socketed items, I get 160 life. So I get 300 life from my boots, plus some fire res, plus this big armor applies to elemental damage rolls, and the armor rating's not too bad. I could get better boots if I wanted to. I just haven't bothered to because honestly I kind of feel unkillable as it sits right now, so I'm not really too worried about it. And then my armor, I have a better set of armor in my stash, but unfortunately I'm forced to wear these ones because it's tri-res armor, and because I'm running all these unique items, I don't really have room to fit anything else. And obviously if you want better clear, just slide a porcelain ring into your character, because you will get way better clear if you have a porcelain ring. If you buy a porcelain ring and you want to get a good one, you can get one corrupted with % damage or all elemental res. I got this one corrupted with all elemental res. It was about a divine. And I got a headhunter that was corrupted with plus armor, so you could get plus armor if you wanted some plus armor. This is a good corruption. Especially for this character because this character's running armor. And then on my gloves, I have triple socket gloves with attack speed. Again, this is like all getting pretty high end stuff. I'll tell you what all this stuff is worth after I go through it. I have some strength, life, flat damage, all melee skills, and then 100% increased effect of the socketables so that I got the attack speed. So these gloves were about 80 divines. This belt was about 15 divines. These boots were about, I think, 30 or 40 divines. This ring was like 4 divines. This armor was like 40 divines. This ring was like 2 divines. This is like a 50 divine hammer. This is like a 100 divine hammer. And this helmet I think was like 12 divines, and this was like a 70 divine amulet or something like that. And then I have a couple of damage maces as well, and I also have a shield, and this was like a 50 divine shield or something. Can't really remember. Maybe it was 20. And then I have the Chernobogs as well. If you are into using Chernobogs, you can for the extra damage. This is nothing wrong with running a Chernobogs. So for the second hammer here, Again, same thing, high attack speed. This one came with the extra physical damage, like I said before, and the attack skills. And it came with this elemental damage with attacks, which is fine because that buffs our Herald of Ice. So this is a nice secondary hammer for us, and it does everything that it needs to do, and I like that. The crit was just an extra bonus, nothing really too crazy here. This isn't even like an insane hammer. It only has 1 damage roll on it, but then all the other rolls are really good. So yeah, this thing kind of slaps. This stuff all works really good. It's really fast. Lots of attack speed on the weapons. You definitely want lots of attack speed if you can get them. Ideally, I wish I could have 2 hammers just like this, so I'd have one on this side, one on this side. Make sure you put your onslaught on this side. I think your onslaught doesn't actually kick in unless your onslaught hammer is in your main slot. So just be aware that if you have an onslaught hammer, that you might want to keep it in this side. But yeah, this all works great. It absolutely crushes everything. It's deadly. For charms, I'm running a poison charm. You could use whatever you want in this charm slot if you want. Most important charm is the wolf charm, and this was mentioned to me by a smart chatter. So try and get yourself a wolf charm that has as close to 20 seconds as possible. And these, I think this charm was about 50 divine, so it's getting a little more on the high end. And again, I did a cheap version of this character, so if you want a cheap like SSF version of this character, you can go back and watch those old videos. And then I have a 4 Utopia Stone Charm. So when my 4 Utopia Stone Charm kicks in, I'm pretty much immortal. I can't die. So if I get stunned, my armor rating is absolutely massive, and I just cannot die. But yeah, the wolf charm is really, really good, so make sure you get one of those if you can. Yeah, this really comes online with a wolf charm because you'll notice the nice attack speed buff when this kicks in, and like I said, try and get one with lots of seconds on use. It's really nice to have lots of seconds on use. And then for shields, if you want to run a shield, I just have a big armor roll, life, strength, phys damage reduction, and then elemental armor. The 2 most important rolls on the shield are these 2 at the end right here. Additional physical damage reduction, and armor applies to elemental damage. Basically, when I put a shield on this character just can't die. This character won't die with a shield on it. It's like impossible. It's a physical impossibility. Like there's just nothing that can kill this character when I put a shield on. But yeah, that's basically how it's all set up. And then I have a flask with lots of charges so that I get good ambrosia value. But I don't use my forge hammer that much, but it is just nice to have some extra value there. And I haven't even upgraded my life flask to a good one. This is kind of just a crappy one. But yeah, I just grabbed a life flask with lots of amount recovered, and I mean I just slap this every time I feel like I'm getting too low, just hit it, obviously. But yeah, that's pretty much how all the gear's set up. If you feel like you need some more damage and you're really into running a shield, you can run Chernobog's and use a Chernobog shield if you want, if that's what you're into. I'm not crazy about it, but if you're into running a Chernobog's, you can. I'm a big double hammer enjoyer. Especially just the way it looks and feels when you're running around the map with it and the extra attack speed. You can also run a like a nice like armor defense based belt with like some strength, some life, some resists. So if you're struggling to patch in your resists, the Headhunter will give you a decent amount of attributes, so there's nothing wrong with this. You can get some good attributes this way. But this also works pretty good. So if you can't afford a Headhunter and you just want to get whatever belt with some life, some strength, and some resistances, this is really good at patching in resistances. But the Headhunter is, once you get the Headhunter buffs going, it's really strong. So Headhunter absolutely slaps. That's basically how all the gear's set up. I think that's basically everything. If you feel like you need more clear, you can always add in Herald of Thunder. So if you want to add in more clear, you can, and you have enough spirit, you can always add Herald of Thunder in, like the Astes setup, and that'll also increase your clear. But I didn't feel like my clear was too bad, so I pretty much dropped it and went back to Combat Frenzy because I liked it more, having more attack speed. But Herald of Thunder is good, and it does increase your clear. I'd say Herald of Ice does about 70% of the work, and Herald of Thunder does the other 30%. So yeah, nothing wrong with that. That's basically how all the gear's set up. Alright, for skills tree stuff, there's a bunch of options for things you can do with the skill tree on this character. But this is a good blend. The setup I have here is a good blend of offenses and defenses. And honestly, this character doesn't feel like it needs damage. It feels like it needs more defenses. So I opted for the more defensive ones with the Mysterious Lineage and the life regen and the armor and the stone skin just to get more armor. I feel like these defensive options are higher value. Now these other nodes with the ancestral stuff is also good. I did tinker around with this a bunch early in the league, and it is good. It does give you a lot of damage, so this stuff is all pretty good. And then this stuff is decent too. These crushing impacts. This stuff is decent too. I didn't try surprising strength, but crushing impacts seemed pretty good. But I didn't feel like I needed it. I felt like having defenses was more valuable. So getting the 2 defensive nodes and then these already give you a lot of damage because you get the strength and then you get the hulking form, which is so valuable for all these little small passives. But yeah, how I pathed out was I think you could go 2 ways. You could go out this way or you could go out this way. This was more efficient to get more damage, so I went out this way, looped in, grabbed brutal and sturdy metal. I did a little split here for weapon set 1 and 2. So this one's on weapon set 2 and this one's on weapon set 1. The reason being is I'm trying to break more armor. So this gives me armor breaks plus area of effect, which is exactly what I need. And then I looped this way, looped down. Now I was running all the crit stuff before, but I had to repath my whole tree. So I had to drop all my crit from up top and go straight out. And I did the little loop in here so that I could grab Blade Catcher and then grab this extra strength to run weapons. So if you're not running Giant's Blood, you probably shouldn't even worry about these. And then this is all on weapon swap now. So this is all on weapon set 2 right here. And same thing with this stuff is all on weapon set 2. And then I'm running a Heart of the Well in here, which is just extra damage, skill speed, debuffs, and then energy shield from a quick body armor. This isn't even a very good one. I could get a way better one. I just didn't really bother to get a better one. I probably should get around to going and buying a better one. But yeah, this works really good. So you could get one like with damage, you get one with energy shield, get one with armor, get one with double damage. This just kind of had some decent rolls on it, so it's just the one that I bought. And then I came down this way. I grabbed these 2 nodes on weapon set 1 right here because I'm trying to break armor to cause armor explosion. Because my whole clearing setup works off of breaking armor and causing armor explosion with my Herald of Ice. And then using the Herald of Ice to freeze and funnel all the armor breaks into all my other skills to buff my defenses and my offenses. So this skill, like I said before, I won't go into that, but I've already talked about it in the past. Go back and watch the old videos if you're curious. Herald of Ice will funnel everything else. So I need to generate armor breaks to do so. And if you feel like you still can't break enough armor, probably take this 3rd node right here to break more armor. And these are all on weapon set 1. Then I came up this way, looped in, grabbed Split the Earth, because there's this 2 nice nodes of mace damage, and then just this 1 node for Split the Earth. And I wish I had one more point. If I was leveled up to 97, I would probably grab this one as well, the 2nd Aftershock. And then come up here and I plot my Tech Rod in. I've talked about this before. I tested the Mumu and the Tech Rod. I think the Tech Rod's a bit better for general gameplay, and switched to Sacrifice of Blood. So go back and watch the last video if you're curious about that. Came up this way. And again, with these, try and get one if you can with like high attribute bonuses. Like this one's a +8 strength. Came up this way. I looped in here and I grabbed all this bonus armor and energy shield stuff so that I could juice up my armor and energy shield as high as possible to get yourself a nice amount of defenses. And I think if you were running like a Chernobog's, you might want to like come up this way and grab all of this, because I think this stuff is pretty decent. So yeah, I think this stuff would all be decent if you're running a Chernobog's. And I grabbed the Zealot's Oath and came down this way. That's just so I could apply regen to my ES. And then grabbed Serrated Edges and Chakra of Thought on my Megalomaniac. So go down this way and armor and ES. Grabbed all this stuff. Reinforced Barrier gives you a lot of defenses because you get 100% armor while not on low energy shields. This makes you turbo tanky. And the Chakra of Thought, the reason I'm running Chakra of Thought is because I'm running a split pool. So 8% of my damage is taken from my mana before life. Then I get 15% of my attack speed while I'm not on low mana. So I'm splitting my HP pool so that I can use my mana as an extra 600 health. So this mana gets added on top of my health pool. Yeah, so that's how that's all set up. Comes through this way, comes down, and yeah, so that's the whole top side of the tree. So that's how that's set up. And that Chakra of Thought is very high value. So what I would say is either try to get this on a Mega or anoint it, or get this on a Mega and anoint it. So either one would be good, because if you can get this on a Megalomaniac, that would be good. Or if you can get this one on a Megalomaniac, this would be good. Another option for a Megalomaniac would be this one here, Mental Perseverance. And another option for a Megalomaniac would be here, Spiral into Depression. So there's a whole bunch of options for you for Megalomaniacs. that you could use. Oh, and Patient Barrier. So there you go. So no one can buy out all the Megalomaniacs because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 nodes that you can choose from. So literally all of those nodes would work. All of those nodes you could anoint or Megalomaniac, and they would all work perfectly fine. You could also get something like Projectile Bulwark, but this one's going to be bricked because it's in the zone of the Tech Rod Jewel. So if you don't have a Tech Rod, you could use that one. I'm trying to think if there's some other ones that are decent. Impenetrable Shell's not too bad. Polished Iron's not too bad. Like if you want to really discount Megalomaniac, I bet you these are like 10x. You'll probably just get this one for like 10x if you wanted a cheap defensive one. And for From Nothing diamonds, I tested a bunch of different From Nothing diamonds, and I came back to this one because I like the area of effect. Because this node right here is on weapon set 1, and it's so that I can get more area of effect if I've stunned an enemy recently. Honorless, I'm running on both weapon sets because it's just armor and melee damage, so pretty good there. And then I'm running Unbending for more life and stun threshold, and Behemoth for more life and area of effect, and then slam skills for aftershock. So this is a really high value node. I tested a bunch of From Nothings, so don't worry because I'll give you a bunch of suggestions. You can also use this one with Chaos Inoculation. Then you grab Pure Chaos. You grab this stun and ailment threshold node right here. This one up here is not too bad too, but this one's really good. This one's pretty decent. You can also grab Tempered Mind from here. So there's a nice one right there, and some more fizz damage if you feel like you need it. And then you can also grab Chakra of Elements. So you can grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if you go off with this one. And then you can also grab this other one too, damage against enemies that are frozen because you're running cold damage. This is a really good one. So you could also add in Thin Ice. So if you run this one, you could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Take all those nodes. All those nodes are going to be high value. There's a few other ones that are not too bad too. I tested a few of them. Like there's plenty that are pretty decent, honestly. I'm trying to think of there was another one that I tested that I didn't mind too. This one over here is actually not bad too because you can grab all this skill speed and then this one accuracy node. So if you run this one, just go boom, 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 boom. You can grab movement speed, skill speed, and then accuracy. So that one's pretty good too. You could also run no Megalomaniac and just grab all these nodes for more attack speed. So that's also, if you don't have a Megalomaniac, you're playing solo self-found, you could just go boom, 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 grab all this stuff. So that stuff's also pretty good. But yeah, the bottom side of the skill tree, I grabbed Strength and Brutality because I'm running 2 hammers. And I went down here and I grabbed Giant's Blood so I could run 2 big hammers. And then went Strength, looped in here to grab all this Armored Elemental stuff. So this is the same setup I was running before. Grabbed the Battle Trance, did a split right here to do a second weapon set for my armor break stuff. And then I'm running the Time Lost Jewel here. Now this one is increased damage against enemies with fully broken armor, some life regen, and then this notable passives or 1% of damage is taken from mana before life. Again, I'm splitting my health pool, so I'm splitting my damage pool, and then I'm gaining 1 rage on melee hit. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rage on melee hit, and then I've also got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% of damage taken from mana before life. And then I'm also getting some damage and some life regen, which is nice. So that was a nice high value jewel. I think I bought this for like 20x or something. Came down here and I did a split here. Now grabbed the attack damage stuff because this stuff's really high value. And then I grabbed the iron reflexes because I'm converting my evasion rating from my helmet into armor. So this is a nice little armor boost, but you won't be able to tell by looking at it. You got to have 500 IQ like Penrose to spot that. And then came in here and I grabbed the Gem Enthusiast. Now, if you run 10 red gems and 10 green gems, you'll get 5% increased movement speed and 5% increased maximum life. So you'll get more life and you'll get more MS. So that'll give you a nice little jump in MS. And I can also run movement speed runes in my boots if I really wanted to move faster. And then I'm running the area of effect stuff right here. And I did a little weapon set split here for increased area of effect. So I've got more AoE, area of effect, area of effect, area of effect, area of effect. And then some damage here, and I popped up and I did a split here for weapon set 1 for movement speed and no penalties while having armor. So when I'm mapping, I don't have armor penalties. And then I come in here and I did a little loop through all of these, grabbed all this stuff, did a little split here for mapping, so I have more regen while mapping, and a little split here for mapping also. So that one's decent. And then I popped in my From Nothing Diamond right here. So yeah, that's basically the whole skill tree. If you need more attack speed, like you said, grab this stuff. You want some more attack speed. If you feel like you're not breaking enough armor with your Herald of Ice, grab some more armor break right here. Grab this other node right here for breaking more armor. And then that should give you enough armor. And then also grab this node to break more armor too. So if you're really struggling to break armor, you could also grab these two nodes and this node. Just go 1, 2, 3 right there. Go 1, 2, 3 this way also. So yeah, that would be probably the way I would do it. But that's basically the whole breakdown of the tree. If you need more strength, you could come in here for Titanic or Anoint Titanic if you feel like you need more strength. That would give you some more strength. But yeah, that's basically the whole skill tree. So if you got any questions, just pop them down below. That's basically it. Like I said, if you really felt like you need more damage, you could do this stuff, but this character doesn't feel like it needs any damage at all. It feels like it mostly needed some defenses because it was already doing so much damage already. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright guys, that's pretty much it. If you got questions, just put them in the comment section. This is just like a normal place for normal people, like I always say. And if the video helped you, thumbs it up. Throw a comment down below and let me know that it helped you. I always appreciate that. These videos are actually way more work than you think, and I spend a lot of time screwing around in my office when I'm supposed to be working. But yeah, if you throw it a like and then you throw it a comment and just say thanks, I always really appreciate that. It really helps balance out all the trolls on YouTube. There's a lot of trolls on YouTube, and I've had to ban like 50,000 people. I don't know why. These people just have no lives, and they're probably just miserable people, but they seem to show up and complain. But yeah, that's basically it. So I'm pretty much done for the season. I started giving away pretty much all of my currency and stuff, so I might not play. I might just log in to kind of test things here and there, but that's probably about it. And a bunch of people are asking me if I'm going to play the PoE 1 League. I probably won't have time to play PoE 1 League because I'm really behind on work, and I can only really keep up with one league now, and I pretty much have to choose between like PoE 1, PoE 2, or whatever else I want to do. So I probably won't be able to play PoE 1. Sadly, I'll probably be just appeasing and hanging out with my wife instead. So, but I hope you guys have a good PoE 1 League, and I'll probably see you on the turnaround at the PoE 2 League.